Welcome back today. In this video, we are diving into the world of rare and collectible coins from around the globe. We'll be highlighting the top 8 most valuable coins from Canada, France, the United Arab Emirates, New Zealand, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, Australia, and the United States. Each of these countries has produced coins that hold immense historical significance, unique designs, and high demand among collectors. We will look at their background, rare mint marks, and how their condition affects value in the market. Let's get started. First up, the Canada 1-cent coin from 1980. At first glance, this small copper coin may not seem like much, especially when found in circulated fine condition, but it carries with it a story of Canadian history, minting practices, and collector interest. In this video, we'll break down its background, unique features, rarity in different conditions, what it can fetch on the auction market in dollars, and why it might be worth holding onto even if it looks worn or damaged. The Canada 1-cent coin of 1980 belongs to the long-running series that featured Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse and the iconic maple leaf twig on the reverse. This design had been in use since 1937, originally created by G. E. Kruger Gray, and it became a Canadian symbol of national pride and simplicity. By 1980, the Royal Canadian Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins for circulation, making it a very common issue at the time. This coin was struck from bronze, composed of 98% copper, 0.5% tin, and 1.5% zinc, giving it its familiar reddish-brown color. Despite the high mintage, decades of circulation have made finding well-preserved examples increasingly harder, especially since Canada discontinued the penny entirely in 2012. On the obverse, the coin bears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, as sculpted by Arnold Machin, which was used from 1965 until 1989. This version of her effigy shows the Queen wearing a tiara, giving it a regal and dignified look that defined this era of Canadian coinage. On the reverse, you'll find the classic maple leaf twig with 2 leaves, accompanied by the denomination 1 cent and the word Canada with the date 1980 placed directly underneath. The simplicity of the design, combined with its strong national symbolism, makes it one of the most recognizable Canadian coins ever produced. In circulated fine condition, the details may be worn, but the maple leaves and the Queen's profile are usually still visible enough for clear identification. Now, let's talk about rarity. The 1980 Canada 1 cent is not considered rare by mintage numbers alone, since millions were produced. However, the value of coins often changes depending on condition and demand. In fine or damaged condition, these coins are still quite common and can be found in coin rolls, bulk lots, or old family collections. That said, collectors often look for interesting varieties, mint errors, or coins with unusual toning, which can add to their desirability. For example, misstruck coins, off-center strikes, or those with die cracks might generate interest even if heavily circulated. Regular circulated pieces in fine condition usually hold more sentimental and historical value than financial worth, but they do play an important role for beginner collectors who want affordable entry points into Canadian numismatics. When it comes to market value, the 1980 Canada 1 cent in fine circulated condition generally sells for very modest amounts. Typically, it ranges from $426,000, depending on the buyer's interest and the bulk lot it's part of. In large groups, these coins are often sold by weight rather than by individual pricing. However, higher-grade examples such as those in uncirculated or mint state condition can reach anywhere from $123,000, and occasionally more if they exhibit brilliant original luster or error features. On the auction market, damaged or heavily worn examples rarely sell on their own, but when grouped with other Canadian pennies, they can still attract hobbyists. For collectors outside Canada, these coins sometimes command slightly higher prices due to their copper content and nostalgic appeal. For those interested in collecting the 1980 Canada 1 cent, there are a few tips worth keeping in mind. First, always pay attention to condition. While circulated examples are common, higher-grade coins are much harder to find and always bring in more interest. Second, look for varieties or errors. Checking for misaligned dies, doubling on the lettering, or unusual striking flaws could turn an ordinary penny into a much more valuable find. Third, consider the historical angle. Since Canada no longer produces the 1 cent coin, even the more recent issues are slowly becoming collectible over time. Beginners can start with circulated coins like the 1980 issue, while experienced collectors may hunt for proof-like or uncirculated examples from original mint sets. Lastly, always store coins properly. Even circulated pennies should be kept in protective holders to prevent further wear and corrosion, preserving what detail remains. In conclusion, while the 1980 Canada 1 cent in circulated fine condition is not considered rare or highly valuable, it holds historical charm and remains a cornerstone of Canadian numismatics. Its design reflects Canada's national identity, its composition links to an era when copper coins were still widely used, and its presence in collections bridges the gap between everyday change and numismatic history. For collectors, even the most modest examples remind us that value is not always measured in dollars, but in the stories coins tell about a nation's past. Next up, the Netherlands 5-cent coin from 1999 in fine circulated condition. While it may look like just a small, everyday coin, this piece carries both historical and collectible significance. We'll go through its background, unique features, its rarity when found in worn or damaged states, and what collectors are paying for it in today's market. If you've ever come across one of these little Dutch coins in your pocket change, you might be surprised at its value. The 5-cent coin from the Netherlands, often referred to as the stuiver, was part of the Dutch guilder system, which was in use before the euro was introduced in 2002. By 1999, the Netherlands was already preparing for the euro, so coins like this 5-cent carried an extra layer of historical importance as they were among the last to be minted in the pre-euro era. This specific coin features the portrait of Queen Beatrix, who reigned from 1980 to 2013, making it not just a monetary piece but also a reflection of the Dutch monarchy and national identity during the late 20th century. The Netherlands 5-cent 1999 coin is small in size, made of copper-plated steel, giving it a distinct reddish appearance. On the obverse side, it showcases Queen Beatrix in a stylized portrait along with the inscription Beatrix Koningin der Nederlanden, which translates to Beatrix, Queen of the Netherlands. The reverse side features the denomination 5 in a clean and modern typeface, accompanied by horizontal lines that were a signature design style for Dutch coins of that era. Its minimalist yet modern design sets it apart from many other European coins. Although the 1999 5-cent is not considered a rare coin in general, millions were minted for circulation. Finding one today in collectible condition is becoming more difficult. Since the Netherlands switched to the euro in 2002, these coins were gradually removed from circulation, making them less common in everyday finds. Interestingly, even damaged or heavily circulated examples attract some collector attention, particularly from those who specialize in Euro transition era coinage. For world coin collectors, owning even a worn or scratched piece represents a tangible link to the closing chapter of the Dutch guilder system. In fine condition, the Netherlands 5-cent 1999 does not typically fetch very high prices. On average, such coins might be worth between $526,000 to collectors, depending on the level of wear and appeal. Uncirculated or near-mint examples, however, can sell for slightly higher, sometimes reaching $214,000 in online auctions. While it is not a coin that will make you rich overnight, its value lies more in its historical context and collectability rather than rarity. If you're interested in collecting the Netherlands 5-cent 1999, always pay attention to condition. Coins that retain their reddish luster, with minimal scratches or corrosion, are more desirable. Store them in protective holders to avoid further wear. Another tip is to consider collecting a full set of Dutch guilder coins from the final years before the euro transition. Doing so not only enhances the value of your collection but also gives you a complete historical snapshot of Dutch currency leading up to 2002. In conclusion, the Netherlands 5-cent 1999 coin is a fascinating piece of history, bridging the gap between the Dutch guilder and the euro. While not extremely rare or highly valuable in fine condition, it holds strong appeal for world coin collectors and those who appreciate the story behind small everyday coins. Whether you find one in a coin shop, an auction, or tucked away in an old drawer, this coin is a reminder of a transitional time in European monetary history. Next up, the France €1 coin from 1999 in fine condition. While most people see the €1 as a simple piece of everyday currency, collectors know that early euro issues, especially those from the first minting year, can hold special value. In this video, we'll dive into its history, unique design, rarity, and current auction market value in US dollars. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look out for if you ever come across this coin in circulation or in a coin collection. The €1 coin was officially introduced in 1999, alongside the rest of the euro currency series. France, being a founding member of the Eurozone, struck its first batch of coins in that same year. Interestingly, 1,999 euro coins were minted before the physical notes and coins actually entered circulation in 2002. This means the 1999 dated coins were among the very first prepared for use, making them historically significant. France minted millions of these coins, but early strikes are always of interest because they mark the transition from the French franc to the euro system. The French €1 coin carries a distinctive design. The obverse features a portrait of Marianne, the national symbol of the French Republic, embodying liberty and reason. Designed by artist Joaquin Jimenez, the portrait represents France's identity within the larger European framework. Surrounding the portrait are the 12 stars of the European Union, along with the mint year 1999. The reverse side of the coin, common to all Eurozone countries, depicts a map of Europe, designed to symbolize unity and integration. Its bimetallic composition and nickel brass center with a copper-nickel ring gives it durability and a modern look, further adding to its appeal among collectors. Although millions of these coins were produced, the 1999 dated issues are special to collectors because they represent the very first year of euro minting. However, when it comes to rarity, coins in circulated or damaged condition such as fine grade or lower are much more common and widely available. These coins still attract some attention because of their historical connection, but collectors typically place higher value on uncirculated or proof quality examples. That being said, even in fine condition, these coins are sought after by entry-level collectors who want to complete year sets or obtain the earliest examples of the Euro series. Now let's talk numbers. A France €1 1999 coin in fine circulated condition generally sells for around $322,000, slightly above its face value. In better grades, such as uncirculated or mint state, prices can rise anywhere between $421,000, depending on demand and quality. Rare errors, such as misstrikes or minting anomalies, can fetch significantly more at auction. But for a typical fine condition coin, don't expect life-changing sums. Instead, its value lies more in its history than in its dollar figure. If you're interested in collecting early euro coins, always pay attention to the year 1999 is the starting point for many countries, and that fact alone makes these coins desirable. When buying, check for condition. Uncirculated coins with original luster are always worth more. Also, keep an eye out for mint errors, as they can drastically increase value. Storing your coins properly in protective holders will also help preserve their condition and long-term value. Finally, be sure to compare prices at auctions, coin shows, and online marketplaces to ensure you're paying fair market value. To wrap things up, the France €1 1999 coin in fine condition might not make you rich, but it is a fascinating piece of European monetary history. Its significance as one of the first euro coins ever minted gives it lasting collector appeal, even if its market value is modest. For new collectors, it's an excellent starting point, and for seasoned numismatists, it's a cornerstone of any euro coin collection. Next up, the United Arab Emirates 1 dirham commemorative coin from 1995, also marked with the Islamic year 1315. In this video, we'll explore its history, unique features, rarity, current market value in dollars, and tips for collectors. So, if you're a coin enthusiast or someone curious about the hidden treasures in world currencies, stay tuned until the end. The United Arab Emirates has a relatively young numismatic history compared to ancient civilizations, but its coins hold deep cultural and historical significance. The 1995 commemorative 1 dirham is a prime example. Issued to mark an important milestone, this coin represents the UAE's dedication to preserving its heritage while embracing modern identity. With both the Gregorian year 1995 and the Islamic year 1315 inscribed, it bridges two calendars, reflecting the dual traditions followed in the country. What makes this commemorative coin truly special is its design and symbolism. On one side, it features traditional Arabic inscriptions along with the denomination 1 dirham. The other side often carries a commemorative motif, honoring a particular event, era, or national symbol. Its blend of Arabic calligraphy, clean lines, and historical references makes it stand out among regular circulation dirhams. Struck in fine detail, this coin's beauty is enhanced when found in well-preserved condition. While not all commemorative dirhams are considered rare, the 1995 issue has grown in demand among collectors. Over time, many of these coins went into circulation, where they were exposed to wear and damage. Because of this, finding one in mint or fine condition is less common today. Even coins that are circulated, scratched, or damaged hold collector interest due to their historical significance. Collectors, especially in the Middle East and Asia, value this coin as part of the UAE's early commemorative series, which adds to its desirability on the market. Now, let's talk about value. The price of a UAE 1995 1 dirham commemorative coin depends heavily on its condition. A well-circulated or damaged example might sell for around $634,000 on online platforms or at small auctions. However, coins in fine condition can fetch anywhere between $125,000, sometimes more if auctioned to an international collector. Exceptional specimens graded by professional services could even cross the $20 mark due to their scarcity in higher grades. While it may not be a coin worth thousands, its historical importance and growing demand make it a solid addition to a world coin collection. If you're interested in collecting UAE coins, here are a few tips. Always check the condition carefully. Scratches, dents, and heavy wear can lower value, but fine or uncirculated coins hold the best market potential. Keep an eye on online auction sites, as these coins occasionally appear and can be acquired at a bargain. For long-term collectors, consider professional grading to certify authenticity and condition, as this can significantly increase resale value. Finally, store your coins in protective holders to prevent further damage. The 1995 United Arab Emirates 1 dirham commemorative coin is more than just a piece of metal. It's a cultural artifact that tells a story of national pride and history. Whether in fine condition or even slightly damaged, it continues to draw interest from collectors around the globe. Its modest yet promising value in the auction market makes it a rewarding find for anyone passionate about world coin. Next up, New Zealand, the 20-cent piece from the year 1977. While at first glance it may look like just another circulation coin, collectors know that every date, design, and condition can tell its own story. We'll explore the history behind this coin, the unique design elements, its rarity in circulation, and most importantly, its current market value in dollars, even when found in a circulated or damaged condition. So if you've come across one of these coins in your pocket change or collection, stay tuned because this might just be more interesting than you think. The New Zealand 20-cent coin was first introduced in 1967, following the country's switch from the pre-decimal system to decimal currency. The 1977 issue was part of the standard circulation, meaning it was widely minted and used across New Zealand. However, coins from the 1970s are now considered vintage by collectors, given that nearly 5 decades have passed since their release. This particular year, 1977, is part of the second decade of decimal coinage in New Zealand and still carried the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, reflecting the nation's status as part of the Commonwealth. The 1977 New Zealand 20-cent coin features Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by Arnold Machin, one of the most recognizable portraits used on Commonwealth coinage. On the reverse, you'll find a striking carving of a Maori figure known as Pukaki, a significant cultural design that represents New Zealand's indigenous heritage. This design made the coin not just a piece of money but also a small work of art symbolizing both colonial and indigenous identity. Struck in cupronickel, the coin is durable, but after decades of circulation, many have worn surfaces, scratches, and discoloration. When it comes to rarity, the 1977 20-cent coin is not considered scarce in mint or uncirculated grades, as millions were produced. However, in circulation condition, especially if damaged or heavily worn, the coin's value is usually minimal. That said, some collectors enjoy completing year sets of New Zealand decimal coins, meaning even damaged coins can have minor demand for filling gaps in collections. The real rarity lies in finding one in high grade or proof condition, but for everyday circulated examples, especially scratched, bent, or corroded pieces, their collector value remains very low. Now, let's talk about value. In the auction market, a 1977 New Zealand 20-cent coin in circulated or damaged condition typically sells for around $331,000, depending on the extent of wear. For well-preserved circulated examples, values may rise slightly, up $15. However, Only coins in uncirculated or near-perfect proof condition can reach higher prices, sometimes between $124,000 if sought after by collectors. For most people, a circulated 1977 coin won't bring in big money, but it remains a nostalgic and historical piece worth keeping. If you're a collector or just getting started, here are a few tips. First, always look at the condition. Coins with fewer scratches, dents, and discoloration will always be more desirable. Second, keep an eye out for mint errors or unusual features, as these can drastically increase value. Third, consider storing your coins properly in protective sleeves or albums to preserve their condition over time. And finally, don't be discouraged if your coin is only worth a small amount. Building a complete year set of New Zealand decimal coins can be both affordable and rewarding. So, while the 1977 New Zealand 20-cent coin in circulation or damaged condition may not make you rich, it carries a lot of cultural and historical significance. Its design highlights both New Zealand's colonial ties and Maori heritage, making it a meaningful piece of the nation's history. For collectors, even small value coins like this one are essential in telling the full story of a country's currency. Next up, the United Kingdom 1 penny from the year 1915. While many collectors seek pristine examples, today's focus is a bit different. We'll be exploring this coin specifically in damaged or circulated condition. We'll discuss its historical background, unique features, rarity, and most importantly, its current auction market value in dollars. Whether you're a beginner collector or a seasoned expert, this video will give you a clear idea of where this coin stands in today's collecting world. The 1915 1 penny belongs to the reign of King George V, who ruled from 1910 until 1936. During this period, British coinage saw both tradition and change, and the humble penny was no exception. The penny was an essential part of everyday commerce in Britain, widely used by the working class, shopkeepers, and traders alike. In 1915, millions of these coins were struck, as Britain was in the midst of World War I. These coins not only served as currency but also represent a tangible connection to an era of great global upheaval. The obverse of the 1915 penny features a portrait of King George V, designed by Bertram McKennell. The king is shown facing left, crowned with the Latin inscription Georgives V Dei Gra, Brit, OMN, Rex Fid, Def, IND, IMP, which translates to George V, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. On the reverse, we see the iconic seated figure of Britannia, holding a trident and shield, with the word 1 penny inscribed. The date, 1915, sits neatly at the bottom. Its bronze composition gives it a classic dark brown tone, though in damaged condition, you'll often see discoloration, scratches, or even corrosion. Now, here's the important question: how rare is this coin in damaged or circulated condition? The truth is, the 1915 penny was produced in large numbers, so it's not considered rare in lower grades. Millions still exist today in varying states of wear. However, even in damaged condition, there remains collector interest. Why? Because for many beginners, owning a coin over 100 years old from the UK is a fascinating entry point into numismatics. Advanced collectors, on the other hand, generally seek higher grades, but they may still purchase damaged examples for bulk collections, educational displays, or to fill gaps at a lower cost. So, what is this coin worth in damaged condition today? In heavily circulated or damaged form, a 1915 penny typically sells for around $323,000. Coins with major scratches, bends, corrosion, or holes will often sit at the lower end of that range. On platforms like eBay, such coins are sometimes bundled in lots of old pennies and sold in bulk. However, if the coin retains some details despite the damage, it might fetch slightly more, especially if bidders are looking for affordable historical pieces. It's important to note that pristine examples of this coin, in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition, can reach $40 to $10 or more, showing just how much condition influences valued. If you're interested in the 1915 penny, here are some tips. First, damaged examples are best bought inexpensively, so don't overspend on coins in poor condition. If you're starting out, these make great learning tools for studying British coin design and history. Second, always store even damaged coins properly to prevent further deterioration. Use coin flips or holders. And third, keep an eye on auctions. Occasionally, sellers mislabel coins, and you may find slightly better examples at the same price as heavily damaged ones. Over time, upgrading your collection from damaged to fine, very fine, or even uncirculated pieces will greatly improve its overall value. In conclusion, the United Kingdom 1 penny of 1915 is not rare in damaged condition, but it remains an affordable and historically significant coin. While its market value ranges from just a few cents to a couple of dollars in poor shape, it continues to attract collectors due to its age and historical connection to the reign of George V and World War I. For new collectors, it's a fantastic starting point, and for seasoned numismatists, it serves as a reminder of how condition is king when it comes to coin collecting. Next up, the Australia 50 cents coin from 1984 in fine condition. While at first glance this coin might look like an ordinary piece of change, its history, features, and market demand make it a noteworthy item for collectors. Whether you're just starting your collection or already an experienced numismatist, understanding coins like the 1984 50 cents can help you recognize potential value hiding in plain sight. The Australian 50 cents coin was first introduced in 1966, originally minted in 80% silver. However, due to the rising cost of silver, the composition was quickly changed in 1969 to copper-nickel, which has remained ever since. The 1984 issue of the 50 cents coin holds particular significance because it was struck during a period of high mintage to meet the needs of Australia's expanding economy. Despite its large production numbers, many of these coins have been lost to circulation, damaged over time, or overlooked by the public, making surviving examples in better condition more collectible than many would expect. The 1984 Australian 50 cents coin is instantly recognizable thanks to its unusual dodecagonal, or 12-sided, shape, which sets it apart from most other coins in the world. On the obverse side, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin, which was used on Australian coins from 1966 to 1984. The reverse features the Australian coat of arms, showcasing a kangaroo and an emu on either side of the shield, a design by Stuart Devlin. This combination of a distinctive shape, iconic imagery, and strong national symbolism makes the coin a staple in Australian numismatics. While the 1984 50 cents coin had a high mintage, coins from this period are now over 40 years old. Many have been lost, heavily circulated, or damaged, which actually creates a degree of scarcity for pieces in good condition. Collectors generally prefer coins in fine or better grades, but even damaged examples can draw interest, especially if they are needed to complete a year set or if they hold sentimental value. Though not considered rare in the strictest sense, the 1984 coin becomes more appealing in collectible circles as time passes, particularly in fine condition or higher. When it comes to value, most 1984 Australian 50 cents coins in fine condition will not fetch astronomical prices due to their relatively high availability. Typically, circulated examples in fine condition are valued between $1 and $3. However, coins in near uncirculated or uncirculated condition can sometimes sell for $5 to $15 depending on collector demand. At auction, particularly pristine or bulk lots of these coins may achieve slightly higher results, but it's important to note that the coin's market value is modest compared to scarcer Australian issues. If you're interested in collecting the 1984 50 cents coin, there are a few important tips to keep in mind. First, pay close attention to the coin's condition. Look for strong details, minimal wear, and sharp edges, as these will greatly improve its appeal. Second, store your coins properly in protective holders to prevent further damage or tarnish. Third, consider collecting the coin as part of a complete year set or a type collection of Australian 50 cents pieces, which adds context and historical depth to your collection. Finally, always check reputable dealers and auction sites for accurate pricing to avoid overpaying. In summary, the Australia 50 cents coin from 1984 may not be the rarest or most valuable coin on the market, but it remains an important piece of Australia's numismatic history. Its distinctive shape, national symbolism, and growing age give it both character and collectability. While fine condition examples usually hold only modest value, they still carry significance for collectors who appreciate the story behind the coin. So next time you come across an old 50 cents coin from 1984, next up the world of US commemorative coins, focusing on the Washington $1 1976 in fine condition. This coin holds a special place in American numismatics, not just because of its design, but also because of the historical context in which it was minted. If you've ever wondered about its rarity, collector demand, and potential market value in today's auctions, you're in the right place. The Washington $1 1976 coin was part of the United States bicentennial coinage, issued to celebrate the 200th anniversary of American independence. Struck between 1975 and 1976, these coins were produced in large numbers to circulate widely during the celebrations. The coin features George Washington, America's first president, on the obverse, which is why it is often referred to as the Washington dollar, though technically it is an Eisenhower dollar series coin with Washington imagery incorporated into the bicentennial theme. Collectors often associate these coins with patriotic pride and the massive bicentennial celebrations that swept across the nation. One of the most remarkable features of the 1976 Washington dollar is its dual date, 1776 to 1976, symbolizing 200 years of independence. The coin's reverse design is especially noteworthy. It showcases the Liberty Bell superimposed against the moon, a design chosen to reflect America's revolutionary history alongside its achievements in space exploration. This symbolic combination makes it one of the most distinctive reverse designs in U.S. coinage. Additionally, the coin came in both copper-nickel-clad and 40% silver collector versions, making certain varieties more desirable than others. Now, when we talk about rarity, it's important to note that the 1976 Washington dollar was minted in very high numbers, so it isn't considered rare in general circulation. However, condition plays a critical role in determining value. A coin in fine condition shows clear signs of wear, but still retains visible details. Collectors usually prefer uncirculated or proof versions, which can fetch much higher premiums. In damaged or heavily circulated condition, demand is lower, but there is still collector interest, especially for beginners or those assembling a complete bicentennial set. Rarer varieties, such as the silver versions or coins with minting errors, can still generate strong demand even with some wear. So what about the value? A 1976 Washington $1 coin in fine condition generally sells for $534,000 in today's market, which is slightly above face value but not exceptionally high. The 40% silver version, however, commands more, with fine condition examples valued between $113,000, depending on silver prices and collector interest. At auction, pristine uncirculated or error coins can go much higher, sometimes reaching hundreds of dollars, especially for rare varieties. But for the average circulated coin in fine condition, don't expect a huge windfall. It's more of a historical keepsake than a high-value investment. For those who are interested in collecting the 1976 Washington dollar, there are a few things to keep in mind. Always check for mint marks. Coins struck at San Francisco, Denver, or Philadelphia may carry different values. Pay attention to whether the coin is the standard clad version or the 40% silver issue, as the silver pieces are more sought after. If you're serious about collecting, consider focusing on uncirculated or proof coins, which retain their value much better over time. Lastly, keep an eye out for minting errors such as double strikes or off-center impressions, as these can significantly increase a coin's worth. In conclusion, the Washington $1 1976 is a fascinating coin that captures a pivotal moment in American history. While it isn't rare in fine condition and doesn't carry a high market value, it remains an important collectible for those who love U.S. coinage and bicentennial memorabilia. Whether you're holding onto one as a keepsake or searching for higher-grade versions to add to your collection, this coin is a tangible link to America's 200th birthday and a symbol of both history and pride. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the world of coins and collectibles.